Let's get to not an uplifting story, another story that goes to the rental crisis in Australia at the moment. It's perhaps more acute in places like Sydney, the capital of New South Wales. And joining me now is the New South Wales Housing and Homelessness Minister, Rose Jackson. Rose, congratulations on your appointment. This has got to be the first order of business for you, doesn't it? The crisis in housing at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to be sworn in yesterday, Laura, and it's straight down to business because we do have a housing crisis in this state. And, you know, one of the first steps that the new NSW Labor government is doing in New South Wales is acknowledging we have a problem. We have a real problem with affordable rental in particular. In Sydney, new figures are indicating it's up over 20% in the last year. Rents are up over 20% and the regions are being smashed too. So we are really taking steps to acknowledge how serious that problem is, and it is a first order of business for us.
You need to do more than acknowledge, don't you? What is the plan?
Look, we released a comprehensive housing plan during the election. You know, it starts with rental reform. We're making regulatory change to outlaw secret rent bidding. We're taking legislation to the Parliament to end no grounds evictions. We're going to establish a rental commissioner. There is a big piece of work we're doing in the rental regulatory space, and it is really important. There has been 12 years of inaction, so, you know, we're looking at doing that. The reality is what we really need is more affordable rentals. So that's going to take time, Laura, and I think it's really important that we have an honest conversation. There are things we can do quickly. There are things that are going to take more time, but we're really committed to starting that work very quickly.
Well, let's get to the supply issue in just a moment, but some practical things that you can do perhaps early. I mean, you talk about the rules around rentals and that real estate agents aren't allowed to allow this secret bidding to go on, but there's a lot of holes in that, isn't there? Because, you know, whilst real estate agents can't, you know, solicit this kind of bidding war behind the scenes, now vendors or renters are so desperate that they are offering above market price. So real estate agents are getting their way anyway without breaking the rules.
Yeah, look, that rent bidding control is a really vexed question. You're absolutely right. We have rules in place and we're going to strengthen those rules to stop agents soliciting rent bidding. But it's really hard to stop tenants who are desperate to find a place to live offering above the advertised price. They're so desperate to find a place.
Would you consider caps like Queensland is at the moment?
Look, we're not considering that at the moment, Laura. We've put together a pretty comprehensive plan in the election campaign and we want to get moving on that, strengthening the rent bidding, outlawing, ending no grounds evictions, establishing the rental commissioner. Those are our priority pieces of work. But we do acknowledge that we have to do something about affordability. As I said, key to that is more supply, but that is a really important part of the equation for us.
What about Airbnb? Because obviously that is having a big effect. Can you restrict the amount of, you know, residential apartments or homes that are offered for Airbnb, short-term high prices rather than long-term rentals?
Yeah, I mean, look, we do acknowledge, particularly in some of our regional areas. So when I travel to the North Coast, I'm also Minister for the North Coast. I know how serious it is up there. Along the South Coast, there are communities that are being massively impacted by short-term letting. We have already started a bit of a conversation about some localised responses. You know, we need to be careful here, Laura, because again, for some of our regional towns, tourism's a major part of their economy. We want to support regional New South Wales to have a strong local economy and grow. And we don't want to impact tourism too seriously. But you are absolutely right that more affordable, long-term permanent rentals need to be part of the solution. And if there are additional restrictions in some local communities that need to be put on short-term letting, we're absolutely open to that because in some areas it is really having a pretty detrimental impact. They can't get workers, Laura. You know, you can't get teachers and nurses, let alone hospitality workers, cleaners in regional New South Wales. And a big part of that in some areas is because of short-term letting.
Okay, just one final question here. Supply. That is a huge problem, isn't it? You've got to do something about this and fast because it takes a long time to build a home.
It's a massive problem, Laura. And, you know, again, we want to be honest with the community. That's not something we can fix overnight. You know, the impact of inflation on things like building costs is also meaning that, you know, the cost of delivering more supply is going up all the time. That just means we need to get serious early, right now. So we've put $60 million on the table for regional New South Wales for the government to directly intervene to deliver more affordable rental. We've got mandated minimums of 30% affordable housing for government land, and we're kicking off our audit of government land soon, finding the land that we own, that we can start delivering more rentals. But it is a huge issue. We do need more supply, and it's something that we're taking really seriously. You're right, that is not going to be online overnight, but unless we get started right away, this problem is only going to go from bad to worse.
Yep. We'll speak to you soon, Rose. Thanks so much, and congratulations.